Welcome to our elegantly knackered English farmhouse. At this time of year, the wisteria is breathtaking, and it got me looking back on how this old gal used to look. We first met Mulberry House exactly 10 years ago, and we almost didn't come to see her. She was overgrown and looked a little tired. We decided she needed a facelift, so we got planning permission to change the 70s lean-to porch. Portico went up smoothly in a day and absolutely transformed the facade. She's weathered over time, and the wisteria is blooming stronger than ever. It must be over 100 years old, so we feel very lucky indeed to enjoy the incredible display. Is glorious here today, and the wisteria is out a full month earlier than it normally is. So this time last year it wasn't coming out until sort of beginning mid-May, and it is completely and utterly out, and it is fantastic. I cannot tell you the amazing scent that is coming from this. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about our journey and the facade of the house and how we got here. When we arrived at Mulberry House, it was completely and utterly overgrown. So imagine this wisteria, but with way more leaves, and it was literally everywhere, which is no bad thing. There was also a Virginia creeper, which I like on non-house walls, on other walls, and that had gone completely over the top, and it was just completely and utterly covered, to the point where we almost didn't come and see Mulberry House, because on the estate agent, sorry about the chickens, they're just, you can hear them, they're foraging, to the point where on the estate agent website on Rightmove, it just didn't look like it looks now. It looked really, the windows look really small. We only went, I think, because it said it was a Georgian farmhouse. So it had the word Georgian in, so we were convinced that it would be fine. And you know what? I will remember that moment forever when we had, as lots of young people do when you've got more money than sense, and you only need 2 seats. We had a small second-hand convertible, and we drove up the drive, and Rue and I, my husband, were both like, wow, okay, this is something else. And it was completely overgrown. Like, the grass was so high, it was crazy. But we just knew there was something very, very special about Mulberry House, and we were 100% right. And we started off, one of the very first projects that we did is that we took out the lean-to, quite 70s looking porch, which is very sweet. It wasn't horrible at all. It was actually very, very, very pretty, but it just didn't look like it belonged on a 1718 house. Incongruous and not quite right against the backdrop of this incredible brick and this incredible wisteria. And so we had a portico built, very, very simple. And we've got this beautiful kind of, almost like a Cotswold, but a little bit darker stone colour to it. And it actually matches the lime mortar colour in between the bricks, which was really important to us. We didn't want it to be too bright. And actually it's really, really weathered over time. We were told that you can put yogurt on the stone to really age it, but actually it's not really taken any time at all to age. And the moment that portico went up, it immediately sort of opened up the front, the facelift of our old lovely property. And it just made such a massive difference to how it felt to walk in through the door. So we're super, super pleased with the outcome. So we are over the moon with this porch, honestly. In fact, porching has become a bit of a verb for us. We spend a lot of time on this porch. We have these little floor seats, which are so good. You can just whack them on anything and you can lean back. We actually need to get 2 more actually for the kids because they love them. And we will eat breakfast out here. We'll have tea out here. I will work out here and do some editing. We will have lunch. We will have a glass of wine in the evening and watch the bats flitter. It is one of the best locations on the house, and it feels really homely. It feels like the center of where we should be, and it's a great spot for sunshine. And obviously the house gives that warmth as well from the bricks. So it's just a really, really lovely place to be. And this time of year is just exceptional. The wisteria is just magnificent. And I wish you could be here to smell it and to sort of see it, because videos don't quite do it as much justice as it really looks, twinkling in the late afternoon sun behind me. I'm in the dressing room and it's the middle of the day because I'm getting ready to go to the Royal Albert Hall tonight to see Classic FM at the movies, which I'm super duper excited about. The Royal Albert Hall is a very, very special place. Architecturally, I love it. But I also played youth proms there as first violin when I was little. So it has a really special place in my heart and is very, very cool. And I'm in the dressing room, as I said, and loads of you said you wanted to have a little nose in the dressing room. So I thought I'd show you around, show you some of my favourite dresses, and also try a few on for the event tonight. So the part that I'm standing in now actually used to be a very small, well, actually it wasn't that small. It was a smaller room that was off our bedroom, and we decided to knock through into the other bathroom, which was next to it, which had no lights. And so we felt like that was the better thing to do rather than have a bathroom with no lights and have a dressing room, which is a ridiculous luxury. I totally get that. It's just one of those things that I've always dreamt about, and we're not moving, so losing a sort of a bathroom or a bedroom for the sake of a dressing room wasn't too much hardship. because we're not moving. We're going to be here forever. And initially, I designed the sloping wardrobes, which are actually really cool in the sense that we've got very, very sloping wardrobes in here, and they do actually open up at the back. There's a bit of a sort of like a secret door where you can shove your suitcases and stuff. So that's very, very helpful. Yeah, my poor husband has got one tiny rail, but I do have a lot of dresses. It is very much my happy space, and initially it was just all white. I often start with a room here at Mulberry House that is just white, because I feel like it gives me the time and space to live in it for a little while before you get used to it and you realize kind of what you want in here and what you don't. So I decided on this sort of willow wallpaper, which basically covers everything. It's on the ceiling, it's on the sloping ceiling, it's on the walls, and I do actually want to do some painting on the cupboards as well, but all in good time. And then recently I added all my hats in here. It's only a recent addition over the Christmas holidays, because it's a dressing room and I love hats on walls. I love anything on a wall. And I've got here my wings that I wore for my 40th birthday party. And yeah, we've got top hats, straw hats. And then eventually I had this very, very plain mirror. Again, just wanted to figure it out, see how the room felt. And then I've sort of landed that I wanted a floor-based sort of French gilt style mirror. And I scoured the internet and managed to find this one. There she is. It's not meant to be on the floor actually, so we could put it on the wall, but these old walls, you know, you never know a wall plug is going to stay or not, so I like it on the floor anyway because I'm a shorty, so I can see what I need to see. And it's really, really beautiful. It's very ornate. It's very shabby chic. It's definitely not perfect at all, which was reflected in the price. It was still a big ticket item. I think I paid about sort of £900 for it on eBay. So still a big ticket item for me. I sort of waited and saved up and sort of took my time on it, but I'm really, really happy with it. And then I've got all my hats surrounding it, which I think, well, for me, I love it. It feels a bit like, I don't know, a bit circusy in here, a bit sort of, I don't know, like you're going on the stage and you're dressing up and you're about to sort of go on stage, which I like that feeling. It feels like you can be a little bit theatrical, and maybe I always say, personally, I will always prefer to be overdressed than underdressed to any occasion. So I will always wear a dress, mainly because I feel more comfortable in a dress, and second of all, because then I don't have to think about things that go together. This is my old tutu. I think I was about 13. My old ballet shoes, my point shoes. And it's a stunning day today. Absolutely gorgeous. My dressing table. The looking out onto the treehouse. Okay, so a few of my favourite things. This one is one of my absolute favourite dresses. This is from Cabbages and Roses. I love this print. It's called the Christina Rose print. And for me, it's perfect. It's faded. It's not too white. It's got a very vintage feel and texture. And the roses are just so beautiful. And it's such a classic look. Just the round neck, the little cap sleeves, slightly cinched in the waist, and then a beautiful long skirt to it, which is almost a little bit circular skirt. It's not too much of a poofy, but it has got a little bit of more wow factor to it. And it's quite, you can't see, but it's quite long as well. So it does give a little bit more of a statement rather than it being a midi. Well, it's probably a midi on everyone else. I'm 5'2", but I love the length on this one. Another relatively new favourite is my blue floral rose print from Olana. Again, very just, independent brands that just do really beautiful things. This is homemade. Olana made this for me, and it's just fits like a glove. I absolutely adore this dress, and you really feel. I got stopped at Waterloo twice in this dress, and that is no mean feat to be in a dress these days and people actually stop you and saying that you look lovely. So yeah, that's sort of really, really, really special to me when you wear a dress like this, that it can make other people be so happy for you. What a lovely thing. And it was just that, the way that someone comes up to you and says, I just wanted to tell you. I love that. I love doing that to women as well. When you see someone that just looks fabulous and you can go over and just say, you look amazing. This is very much a new favourite. Brilliant weight to it. It's really structured and it's really got sort of a wow factor. Not a dress, but this is a skirt that I use a lot. This is from, I think it's called South of the River. And I actually cut out the lining so I can use this tulle over lots of different things. I bought two, so I've got one that's got a lining and one that doesn't have a lining, so I can wear it as a skirt with the lining, and then I can wear this tulle over something else, so over another skirt or over a dress, which I've done a number of times, which I really love. I also wear this as a petticoat, so I'll wear it under, I've worn it under my Cabbages dress actually, so I've worn this and like sort of worn it slightly higher, and then it you see the little tulle polka dots poking out the bottom, which I think is super cute. So I love tulle. I love sort of that sort of ballerina feel to it. It's very Audrey Hepburn for me, and I just don't think it'll ever properly go out of fashion. And I love this. I think it's super delicate and very princessy. This is a dress that I wore, that I commissioned from a really beautiful brand in the UK called Hearts and Daisy. She ships anywhere and she makes them to measure. So you can, mine she made a little bit shorter so I could have it a proper midi length. And amazing quality material, beautiful designs, just simple but elegant. It's not cinched in, so it's got quite a casual feel, but you can dress it up. I wore this to a very fancy do in London the other day. I think I put my tulle under it again. I can't remember, but I love this dress. I live in this. I can literally go to the beach in this, or I can go out in London in this. So it's super versatile, and it's got these little bow details here. There's a slight peekaboo, but when I say slight, it's literally slight. You can't see anything. If you wear a little, you can wear a slip, of course, underneath, but I usually just wear a little, skin-coloured sports bra type. Not a sports bra, but, a bra a bralette, there we go. and you can't tell, which I really love that dress, and very, 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 has a really warm spot in my heart because I wore it for my big website shoot and launch, so I will always remember this dress. Another great brand that I love is a company called Smock. As you can see, they have this beautiful smocking on a lot of their dresses and tops and skirts. And again, I love this because I feel like I can wear it to anything. I could wear it and often do wear it to the beach in the UK, and I'll also dress it up and go out in it. And what I also do with these sorts of dresses is I layer it up with a knit tank. So you can wear this in the autumn, you can wear this in the spring, and let's face it, you know, the UK is not boiling. So this tank is from O Pioneers. These tanks are so sweet. They made by grannies, and this was knitted by Jenny. And she has knitted this one called Isla, and it's an alpaca wool. And it's really cropped, which I really love because it basically, you know, when you wear a jumper and you often feel like you need to tuck it over, this one you don't. And because it's a vest, that kind of creates that perfect line that you want. So I really recommend a knit tank to be able to take you a little bit further with your summer dresses. And this one is by a friend of mine called Blair, and the brand is called St. Clair. And again, I just love this vintage rose pattern. This one is a little bit more feminine, a little bit more slightly cinched in at the waist, with a tie at the back and these sort of beautiful layers on the shoulders. I think it reminds me of sort of, I don't know, sort of summer nights, having a late evening meal on the porch or the pergola and just swishing slowly about. I feel like I should be in the south of France in this. It's very elegant. I feel like, I don't know, Lady Mary should be swishing about in this one. This one is by Gala Paris. This is a little bit more informal. It's got a cinched in waist and this beautiful neckline, a sort of square neckline on the shoulders and then across here. It's really, really lovely. Now, you may remember this one that I gardened in, but it is cotton. I truly believe that a dress should just be worn, and obviously I've washed it and all the mud has come out, so I do just wear a dress. This one I feel like I can wear in the garden because it's floral and cute and cotton, but definitely will be traipsing down some sort of French avenue in this in the summer. So again, super versatile. I really like this sort of sweet little neckline. It is very flattering actually. Makes you look as though you sort of got broader shoulders, and then that makes your waist look thinner. I think so anyway. But really love this. Very, very simple, very effective, a very sweet little dress. Okay, so I've got my first dress on. This is by a company that I've used for years. They're called the Pretty Dress Company because, for obvious reasons, it's a very pretty dress. And it's an off-the-shoulder number with these beautiful little bows. And this one is in a floral design. Another pretty dress one. This is my first one that I bought. I think I need to get a stain out there. This is the first one that I bought when I first went to Goodwood years ago. And I love this dress. I've worn this dress to more occasions than I can count. It is my go-to. I love a little black dress. And for me, obviously everyone has their own style, but I have found the dress that fits and suits me. Any of these Pretty Dress Company dresses, I often get stopped and asked where they're from, which I always think, again, is the greatest, the loveliest compliment. So this one is a little bit more classic, obviously, because it's in black.
think I'm going to go for this one just because it's at the Royal Albert Hall, and I don't know, it feels more appropriate to go in sort of black tie type affair. I'll wear the other one another day, but yeah, I think this is the one I'm going to wear because it makes me feel pretty. And I don't care how many times I've worn it and how many times you've seen it, I still just love it. What I could also do is try my trusty tulle skirt underneath it and see what that looks like. I do have a really large underskirt which really poofs it out, which I usually prefer, but I'm going to try it with this. Okay, so I think I'm ready. I've got this really simple little pearl number on, and my mum's stud gold earrings. Just got my normal rings, and these are my mum's. And then this is my mum's. And then these little tiny little beautiful things. My husband bought me these little, oh, they're wrong way around. Hang on, there you go. There we go. Very beautiful little things. So I've also gone for my navy blue velvet headband. I usually go for a red when I'm wearing black, but actually what I want to do is it be a little bit more understated. So it's just sort of classic rather than a statement. And I actually personally, controversially, like navy blue and black together. And then just to lighten the mood a little bit, because it is spring, I've gone for my Fortnum & Mason's wicker, well, it's not a handbag actually, it's a tiny little wicker hamper, but I think it looks really cute. And underneath I have gone for my tulle. So many layers. So when I sit down, you'll be able to see the layers of tulle and the spotty, which will be very Dior. And this is my Royal Albert Hall look. Okay, I've really got to go. My daughter's about to get off the bus, the school bus. I need to go and get her. Then the babysitter's coming, and then I'm off to get the train and into London. So bye.
excited to be back here on stage at the Royal Albert Hall. And isn't it just looking magnificent?
Being a Classic FM presenter, because you've just hosted your own show. How was it?
My mum is so happy right now. When I say we used to listen to Classic FM in the car on the way to school, and we used to play the Guess the Composer game on like a daily basis. And I still remember the day that Classic FM shouted me out at the age of about 10 when I said I was playing that game. So to then be able to say that you're presenting on it is quite surreal.
Let's hear this one-time only opportunity for the Royal Albert Hall organ, 9,999 pipes. What does it sound like?
Back to that film and your inspiration for some of that amazing music from that score.
Well, it's a wonderful film. I really enjoyed it. It was a really happy time. And but watching the film, you know, which is what you do when you're writing the music for it, again and again and again, and they're all eating chocolate the whole way through. The whole thing is about chocolates. And I wasn't that keen on chocolate before, but I had to eat so much chocolate.
Very difficult job, very difficult job. And what pieces of music are we going to hear from Chocolate now?
We're going to hear the main titles, which is like the main theme, and then we're going to hear the piece of music when Vianne, which is Juliette Binoche's character, puts her chocolaterie together.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Rachel Portman.
Just wanted to tell you, face to face as it were, how utterly amazing last night was. Classic FM at the movies, live. I've been to loads of performances over my life, and I love classical music, as you know. This was unbelievable. Genuinely. I cried quite a lot. Schindler's List was just incredible. I'm finding it hard to articulate because it was so overwhelmingly good. The atmosphere was electric, and that is a phrase that is bandied around, but this was incredible. If you ever get a chance to go, because it is amazing. Amazing. Wow.
My name's Leah, and I would say that I'm basically a storyteller, whether that's through design, through creative direction, or anything to do with Mulberry House. I would say that anything that I do involves telling a story and how it makes me feel. It all began during lockdown, and I found the quiet that I didn't know I was looking for, basically. We started a small vegetable patch, me and my young son, who was 4 at the time. And I just sort of had this literal moment where baby India was on this sort of picnic blanket, and and my son was playing around in the mud, and the leaves were rustling in the trees. And I know it sounds super cheesy, but it was literally a moment where I was like, oh, this is life. And, you know, before I'd been in a very intense sales job, and I continued that job, but had sort of a nugget of an idea of where I wanted to be and how I wanted to live my life. And that sort of manifested itself in creating an Instagram account that then has bled into becoming a creative director, a designer, and just all sorts of interesting and fascinating new ways of being able to storytell, basically.
How has that moment with baby India lying there and the wind in the trees evolved in terms of its presence in your life?
What happened was I sort of made things beautiful at home because it made me happy. And, you know, a table, I know it sounds really basic, but a beautiful table just does actually make everyone a bit happier. And, you know, having baths in the sink and having flowers around the house and, you know, creating, if we all think about what we remember as children, what are the key moments that make us super happy? They're these kind of seminal moments of, you know, running down a hill or rolling down a hill and or playing hopscotch, or, you know, things that we remember. And I think that has kind of really impacted how I want to live my life at Mulberry House with the kids, is just having moments that I will remember.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your sources of inspiration are?
I think a lot is my mum. She was a really, really strong, feisty and powerful little pocket rocket of a woman. And she really instilled into me a sense of sort of morality, fairness, kindness, but also really hardworking. And she loved antiques. And so she took me to antique shops all the time. And I bought my first antique when I was about 7. And it was this little pram. I sold it when I was in my teens because I wanted to probably buy a dress or something, I don't know. But I wish I still had it. It was this tiny little pram, like a doll's pram. And so my mum is a massive inspiration. And then I get a lot of inspiration from period dramas. I'm a complete period drama obsessed. Again, an early memory for me is watching Gone with the Wind. Probably around 7 or 8 again, and it was boiling hot. Everyone was outside having wonderful time playing, and I was just obsessed with watching Gone with the Wind. So a lot of that inspires kind of how I want to feel, you know, obviously not sort of socially where I want to be, but how, you know, you want to feel about, you know, wafting around in a lovely dress. I literally do everything in a dress, and I do not apologise for that. You know, you can wash it, it's fine. I'm happiest when I don't have to leave Mulberry House. I'm happiest not moving from this square mile. Getting up in the morning, you know, imagine like a sunny Sunday. The birds are singing, I let the chickens and ducks out, we sit on the porch, we have a cup of tea on the porch, we eat breakfast on the porch, and then potter around in the garden, maybe have a picnic. Simple things like go down to the park, maybe, you know, splash around in the stream. That is kind of where I'm happiest. And then maybe sit and have a glass of wine in the evening with my husband and chew the fat of, you know, goodness knows what.
What has been the hardest thing to overcome in this journey?
Everything. Learning technology, like learning how to do anything on technology-wise has been really difficult. Building a website was insanely hard. And also, I really want everyone to like me. I know that's a really bad trait that I have. And so obviously you have to get over that in any kind of social media context. People will hate you as well as love you. So letting go of kind of the need to be loved has been quite hard as well.
There are so many creations in Mulberry House. Which one are you proudest or claims the greatest spot in your heart?
Probably the treehouse, because it has an emotional connection with my mum, because we used a little bit of money from her estate to build the treehouse. And basically it sort of started off as a treehouse for the children, and then it became my office, a bedroom, a deck where we can have sundowners. So it became a lot more. And the idea of like coming up with the concepts for that and the design, and it's a very different feel as well in the treehouse than the rest of Mulberry House. It's much more kind of adventure, and sort of a new style was really fun to play with. And it's really hard building a room in a tree, so it was probably my most favourite creation. Hiding the TV, I've always done it in any way. Anywhere I've lived, I've always hidden the TV, but I really wanted to have it completely out the way and it also feel like artistic. So covering the TV was really a head scratcher, but I really loved coming up with that design as well.
And how do you go about starting those designs, those projects?
So I think no idea is completely original. And I think that is what's actually really lovely about being creative, is that you can draw on other people's ideas. So I start with Pinterest, or I start with a collage, and I just get loads of ideas together in my head. And then I'll start sort of mulling over how it could work. And I am sort of literally back of a fag packet type of sketch, and come up with that sort of design from there. And again, I tend to work with people who are truly artisans. So, you know, generally you wouldn't be able to say to a carpenter, can you just build a tree house? You'd have to have a proper design, CAD designs, etc. Whereas, you know, when you work with people that are super creative as well, it's an iteration on like both your creative aspects, and working together with people, I think, is probably one of the most important things that I've learned. It's not a solo affair. It's more about actually creating something with people around you who are brilliant at what they do, and they want to, you know, utilize both your skill sets, basically.
What is the next chapter in your creative journey?
The honest answer is I don't know. And I guess that's what's really exciting about it all. I have always wanted to write a children's book, and I have now got the opportunity to do so. So I just need to make sure I carve out the time to actually do it. Because honestly, we've got birds nesting in the postbox at the moment. And I mean, it writes itself, really.
In sharing your kind of your life, but also your way of life, perhaps more on Instagram, kind of what do you most want to impart, I guess, to people?
Sorry, that's my tummy. My tummy wants to impart that. Those small pockets of joy in the everyday. If just one moment can be, we all have the tantrums, we all have the, you know, oh my goodness, we haven't done the homework, or there's no socks that go together, or, you know, the PE kit has been lost. But just one moment where I know what it will be today. It will be after today, we'll go down to the sweet shop and we'll go on the bike, and India will be delighted by choosing all the sweets, and it'll be a wonderful moment. So I think if I could impart anything, it would be to find that one moment of joy in every day.
Okay, so I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I went into town today and got some bones from the butcher, and I'm making some bone broth, and I've got this big bag of frozen odds and ends of veg that we've used throughout the last 2 weeks, and I always just keep them in a little baggie like this in the freezer, and then I can use them for a vegetable stock or a bone broth. And I've got some bone broth, so I'm going to make one, and it's super easy and so good for you, and it makes delicious soups and risottos and all sorts of things. So I thought I would show you what I do. It's literally super simple, so it's really not difficult for anyone to do. You basically just shove it all in a pot and let it come to a boil and simmer very gently. So let's make it. Pan. Here I've got some courgettes that are going off, some stalk ends of asparagus, and some old chard. What else have I got in here? I've got some load of herbs that were going off, and so instead of chucking them, just keep them in there. Now my bones are really big, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to fit in, so I might take a courgette out so I've got a bit more room. I've got some leeks in there. I'll save that for another day. And then I'll shove some garlic in. You can literally just squash that. But you can literally just shove in this as well. It's all good stuff. I'm going to put a handful of peppercorns in, a couple of bay leaves, and some salt. Okay, so my butcher had these in stock, rib bones. So it's basically just whatever they've got in stock. They're usually about £1.50 for a bone. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to fit in 3 in here. And then I'm going to fill it with water and then cook it really low and slow overnight. So it'll be in here for at least 12 hours.
A little bit of pepper.
You are a very good boy, Rayflane.
Still sitting on them.
Oh, is she? She wants some ducklings, doesn't she?
This is a scarf. It's not a blanket. It's actually a scarf. Look. What? But we had 4.
Okay, we have got the eggs on the incubator, but we've also now got ourselves a broody duck. Hello. Oh, and a poorly chicken. I just need to make sure that she's eating, which she's not. At the moment she's being really defensive about her eggs, so I've got some peas in here, and then I've got some food nearby as well, so she can take it if she wants it.